The time is 8 minutes past 4 o'clock. You are with Radio Sri Lanka, and a couple of important presenters already here inside the Continuity Studio 9 at Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, where we regularly bring the Radio Sri Lanka's regular programs for our listeners. But in fact, we are here to just make a couple of special changes in par with the ongoing exciting and horrible and terrible, and of course we have very, very precautionary measures we are being subject to undergo. And in the meantime, schools are closed and almost all the offices are really underworking at this situation, and of course roads are almost deserted for a very, very specific purpose. So we are turning the important airwaves of Radio Sri Lanka to make use of the important time factor and the leisure time that our students are spending at home. In fact, we are here to bring in lessons in terms of helping them to keep themselves updated and, of course, to enhance their knowledge in particular areas of subjects covering, in fact, from year 1 to advanced level students. So time to time we have a great lineup to bring about important subjects to those students. I'm sure if most of them are not really into that particular stream, but still this is worthwhile since we are spending a leisure time at home, and of course we are making use of the national assets like airwaves of state radio. So we invite all the students to be in front of the radio and tune Radio Sri Lanka, and let's start the next educational program right now that features till 6 p.m. today. And we started this particular endeavor in fact today, early occasion, with Mario Vijayawardena, one of our presenters, and who is currently serving as the lecturer in the University of Colombo. And of course, he really started the program, and we are here to bring in the second program for the first day as far as that particular operation is concerned. We invite cordially Sabrina, a usual voice who really kept our listeners entertaining for a couple of months, enrolling as a presenter. But today I'm introducing her as a tutor. Welcome to the show, Anne.
Thank you, Victor. That was a lovely introduction. And yes, adding more to what you were considering the prevailing situation which we are facing right now, not a pleasant environment at all, but certain things are beyond our control, so we have to probably be more cautious and be more vigilant and take necessary precautions, so that it's important for us to safeguard ourselves first and then the people around us. So considering these situations, I think the Ministry of Education has requested all the students to be at home and considering their safety, of course, because a couple of examinations are coming up, and these are vital examinations for students, such as the GCE O-levels, which was just concluded, and then the advanced level, which is coming up. So this is, I would say, one of the best initiatives taken by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, along with our sister channels, where we are conducting sessions of teaching and enlightening the students on the subjects such as literature, as you earlier also mentioned, Victor, which was very, very well taught via radio by Mario Vijayawardena, and he, I think, explained it very, very informatively towards all the children about how to get about with literature, and poetry was the subject which we were speaking about. So today, this is a tutoring guide exclusively designed by Radio Sri Lanka for students who intend to face the general English of the advanced level examination, and this is radio teacher educational segment is exactly what we have named this program. And then before we get into the subject, I felt it's important to tell the students that how much we should be spending quality time on learning English alone. Because English happens to be a language which has an important role to play in our lives. It is understood by many people around the world since it is the most heavily spoken language, and it is essential in our education as well to learn this subject called English, which will help us to communicate with nearly all the people around the world, even through the internet, which most of the students are accessing today. And as we know that English is one of the most dominating languages in the world, which is having its impact on every single field of work. Undoubtedly, English also plays a much greater role in the world that is inevitable for people to ignore it fully. So students, I would like to rephrase that. Do not ignore it. Okay, take in the best interest to learn it, because this is a dominating language, as I told you before. And let me just tell you why it is important for us to learn this language in detail, because most commonly spoken language in the world, as I told you before, and it's the language of international business. And on a lighter note, most of the movies are also in English. So if you know to get about with English, you will be enjoying the movie even much more. And it's not that complicated to learn, provided you spend quality time learning English, such as by reading diversified topics. And then if you could also keep browsing web pages such as the British Broadcasting Corporation, the CNN, some international web links, so that you can read on some interesting topics. Because in English, what happens is when you are reading an article about catastrophes and climate change and so on, you get a different set of vocabulary used. And then when you read about the animal planet, then it's going to be a different set of words. Economics to politics, it's always different set of words. And that is why I'm taking some time to detail you the importance of learning English and how well you should be learning it. Because the topic, the unit that I'm going to explain to you today, which is crime and social responsibility in the GCE General English Advanced Level book, is a subject where you should know the definitions and the meaning of the words. So if you could know that, that's going to be very easy for you to learn the entire set of theories behind it. So it is easy to learn if you can pre-educate yourself on these areas by self-studying, and it will help you understand other languages also pretty easily. And you can say things in different ways. Why do I say that? Why? How could we say it in different ways? That is because English has a wide range of vocabulary, and you could express your thought. If you are very good with your synonyms, you can be always substituting different words to put your point across. So it sounds very interesting in that sense when you keep using variety of words. It shows your capability by accessing this language, and it could be spoken around the world. So what more? You would be learning more and more, because it's the language of the internet as well, so that most of us are accessing the internet today for educational purposes. So if you know the correct terminology, it's easier for you to punch in that word and browse and get more details with regard to that. So as I told you before, we will be discussing about crime and social responsibility. That would be the unit that we will be discussing today and detailing you and enlightening you and educating you as well. So in this unit, you will learn English by reading about and discussing crimes and socially irresponsible actions. The reading materials and the activities in the unit will also make you think about and discuss ways of preventing crimes and becoming socially responsible citizens. They say that they would hope you'll enjoy the unit. Yes, you would. Definitely you would be enjoying it. And let's get into the lesson plan. No sooner we listen to few tracks I'll be handing it over back to Victor so that you can prepare yourself. You can get your necessary books and pencils and be ready and take down notes and start your lesson for today. Over to you, Victor.
Well, that was the first segment of the important lesson, that is education program that is being broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka for the first time, taking into consideration the ongoing difficulties our students facing without taking part in their routine schoolworks and comfortably sitting at home. Yes, we are here to dish out the necessary possible important facts that will really help you just to keep in touch with your regular studies. So I'm sure that Sabrina fantastically started the program, and one thing really she emphasized, that is the importance of the language that is really dominating the world. So until the corona type of thing is really encroaching the world, it was the language, perhaps the English, which really encroached almost every part of the world. So let's begin the second session in a short while. Let's take a listen to this particular song.
Boom! It's African, hey, and Jamaican, hey, European, hey, Australian, hey, African, Swahili, Japan, Ichiban, sending out a message to each and every one. Ribby bong, scan, study, ribby bong, bang. Ribby bong, scan, study, ribby bong, bang. Speaking my language, everybody. Speaking my language, everybody. Hit me with your best shot, girl, 'cause I'm a dread from around the world. One world, that's my aim. Bad boys and we don't play games. Had a partner, ting, what more appropriate to for speech to release to and to sing. A tune about the language that's distinguishable to some. At the first lick of that low bass line and heavy island drums. Pentecostal tongue, language, undescribable. Unpleasant to the ear unless you're inherent in tribal. Survival is the key to this here dialect family. It's the language that I speak, word out to my peeps. Ribby bong, scan, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. Ribby bong, scan, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. I know I talk strange, but my words are true. From the land of Jah, I come to you. Look in my eyes, can't you see light? In my word, all things are new. So tuck it up, bring it back, start it again. Let's get together, can we just be friends? Chuck it up, bring it back, start it again. Let's get together, can we just be friends? It's African, hey, and Jamaican, hey, European, hey, Australian, hey, African, Swahili, Japan, Ichiban, sending out a message to each and every one. Ribby bong, scan, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. Ribby bong, scan, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. Speaking my language, speaking my language, speaking my language, speaking my language. First degree. That's right. Open me up, Lord. Open me up. Split my rib cage wide open so I can vocally erupt. The circle that I hang would be the inner with vibrations up your love. They hit you smack that in your center. Open me up, Lord. Hey, open me up. Split my rib cage wide open so I can vocally erupt. Boom. The circle that I hang would be the inner with vibrations up your love. They hit you smack that in your center. Ribby bong, scan, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. Ribby bong, scan, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. Ribby bong, scan, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. Speaking my language, stanichi, ribby bong, bang. Speaking my language, everybody. Speaking my language, everybody. African, hey, Jamaican, hey, European, hey, Australian, hey, African, Swahili, Japan, and Ichiban, sending out a message to each and every one. It's the language that I speak, word up to my peeps. It's the language that I speak to my peeps. Howdy, partner. Ha ha, ting ting. More appropriate to the speech
to intersect. The tune about the language, that's the Spanish mode. Let the first pick up that bass line and heavy island drums. Pentecostal tongues, language, undescribable. Pleasant to the ears unless you're inherently tribal.
Wake up, everybody.
Maroon 5. Ed Sheeran.
Don't when my love, that heart is so cold, all over my own. I don't wanna know that, babe.
Nothing but the hits.
You're with Radio Sri Lanka on 97.4 and 97.6 FM.
A little thought for today from the City Police.
You know what little girls and boys are like when they walk along the street with carefree, happy laughter, but very careless feet. So be cautious, Mr. Driver. Oh, please don't run the risk of making us the victims of a reckless motorist. So keep on driving, but bear in mind little footsteps down the street. Yes, keep on driving, don't stop driving. Watch out for little feet.
Kakuluso, the right combination of many Ayurvedic medicines, ideal for tender skins of babies. Let's protect our kids from all germs. The only solution, Ayurvedic Kakuluso. Kakuluso, a proud product of Siddhalepa.
Festival Glamour with CIB Apekama during 16th to 22nd March. A 10% discount for CIB Apekama cardholders. Visit CIB today.
97.4 and 97.6 Radio Sri Lanka.
There's an old cottage waiting in the country, waiting for someone to call. There's an old kettle boiling by the fire. There's an old welcome mat in the hall. There's an old mom and dad there waiting for a son that's been gone for so long. There's an old cottage waiting in the country, waiting for that boy to come home. Many years ago he had to leave them and travel far across the stormy sea to fight for the things that he believed in, with a song and a guitar on his knee. But they hoped and they prayed he'd return to them, though the weeks slowly turned into years. Many nights they have been so lonely, and many nights there had been many tears. There's an old cottage waiting in the country, waiting for someone to call. There's an old kettle boiling by the fire. There's an old welcome mat in the hall. There's an old mom and dad there waiting for a son that's been gone for so long. There's an old cottage waiting in the country, waiting for that boy to come home. The old man is tired and weary, his back bent over with age. The old woman, she sits by the fire and table that's standing beside her are the pictures of a son she misses so. The son she held and kissed so dearly when he left her so many years ago. There's an old cottage waiting in the country, waiting for someone to call. There's an old kettle boiling by the fire. There's an old welcome mat in the hall. There's an old mom and dad there waiting for a son that's been gone for so long. There's an old cottage waiting in the country, waiting for that boy to come home. There's an old cottage waiting in the country, waiting for that boy to come home.
The sound of Austin Allen, that was. It's 29 minutes past 4 o'clock. And you're listening to Radio Sri Lanka on FM 97.4, 97.6 and on the web www.sbc.lk. And one more song before I invite Sabrina to conduct the next session of the GC Advanced Level English-based tutorial-based program that is being broadcast for the important aspect to fulfill the requirement of enhancing the knowledge during this particular period of time right now in Sri Lanka. Let's listen to Eagles first.
I've been walking through the fields and on the streets of town, trying to make sense of what you left me. Everything that I believed in has been turned upside down, and now it seems the whole wide world's gone crazy.
do something, yes, that is what we should do right now, but it has to be a very perfect thing that really, really help to enhance our important lifestyle, at least in the future. So I'm sure that most of their routine systems, routine lifestyle is being completely disturbed, and we are here really extending with the possible resources and to bring about the most perfect outcome by bringing you the educational program on our airwaves. And we welcome once again.
Thank you, Victor. Yes, as we were just detailing it even before, that we are trying to assist the students where we can give them a helping hand during their break at home, so that they can utilize this valuable time for education. And today we are talking about the GCE advanced level, the general English. So we are giving in some tips and resources and giving them some guidelines on to how well they should be getting about with the subject rather than looking at the technical aspect. We are just giving some support, additional information for them to work and think on lines where it will be supportive for their subject that they are going to learn. And as I told you that we are talking about the crime and the social responsibility, that is the unit we are focusing on, and the lesson outcome of this is what is expected by the students to keep focusing is, in this unit, you will read and discuss and write about the crime and the corruption. So let me repeat it again. The whole idea about this lesson that we are going to focus today is about to read and discuss and write about the crime and the corruption, and to get to know the vocabulary related to crimes and criminal activity. So it's important to focus on the set of vocabulary. That's what I told you even earlier, students, that it's very important to read through on different topics, on diversified topics, since English has a separate set of words designed and exclusively been kept in as a content for those relevant subjects to talk about. So you should get to know the vocabulary related to crimes and criminal activity. Then we would be discussing and writing about socially responsible behavior. So it's giving the student the opportunity to write about this word that we are going to go get into more into depth, that is crime, and then socially responsible behavior. As a socially responsible citizen, what sort of methods should we be adapting to respond to these criminal offenses? And then read about and discuss laws in other countries. That's right. In Sri Lanka, we would be having a separate set of rules. Maybe in another European Union, it would be a different set of rules. So it's important to learn, to be educated on laws of other countries. Then we would be practicing using the modal verbs, that is SVO as abbreviated, that is the subject, verb, object, and SVOO, again abbreviated as subject, verb, object, object sentences, and reported a speech. So in the very first task, they expect you to speak, to discuss about this. The following definition of the word crime is from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and the definition tells you how the word can be used in several ways. So this word crime defined as an illegal act for which someone can be punished, especially a gross violation of law. For example, the man convicted of murder was imprisoned for life for his crime. Let me repeat it again. An illegal act for which someone can be punished, especially a gross violation of law. An example, the man convicted of murder was imprisoned for life for his crime. The second way of defining the word crime would be a grave offense, especially against morality. It is a crime to ill-treat your aging parents. That is a classic example. It is a crime to ill-treat your aging parents, so it is a grave offense. The word crime is also defined further as a grave offense, especially against morality. The third way of defining this word would be a criminal activity or activities. A criminal activity or activities. The OIC's efforts to fight crime in the area. That's an example for you for that third definition of the word crime. The fourth definition of this word is something reprehensible. That means foolish or disgraceful. An example is a crime to waste good food. It's a crime to waste good food. So they expect you to read the definition thoroughly, so that it's very important to get the correct meaning of the word, since in English sometimes the definition may have a different assumption. So we cannot be assuming or presuming before we speak this language or learn this language. It's very important to learn the correct definition, the real meaning behind this word, so that we can utilize it accordingly. And I think this unit is focusing mostly on enlightening the student to get to know the definition of words, so that you would know exactly what you are planning to intend to work with. So they want you to discuss with friends and with your co-studying partners in this most word crime, which is heavily used throughout this unit, because the unit itself is about crime and social responsibility. So the group work or the task which you're supposed to do by yourself since you're at home, read through the 5 or 6 topics that they have given you and discuss which one of the following sentences describe crimes. So let me repeat that. You're supposed to read through the couple of points they have given you, and for you to follow the sentences that describe the crime. You're supposed to give reasons. You may give more than one reason. Yes, sometimes when you are supposed to explain or to put in a point, you're supposed to explain, to give a reason. So the very first point for you to decide under what category of crime would it really fall into, you have to decide that. So let me just read that point across to you. A man was arrested yesterday for attempting to bribe a labor official to change the ETF employer payment records for a sum of 10,000 rupees. Let me repeat it. A man was arrested yesterday for attempting to bribe a labor official to change the ETF employer payment records for a sum of 10,000 Sri Lankan rupees. So try to figure out and see, as I detailed to you earlier, about this word crime and under what sort of categories does this word crime fall into. The point number 2. The young child was punished by a passerby for throwing plastic wrappers into a public drain. It's easier, students, if you can read through word by word, so that it will give you some time to understand what really happened. Now, in the second point, who was punished? It was the young child. And who did it? It was the passerby. What was the criminal act that that child had done, or one of the source of social responsible behavior which was not done in a social responsible manner? It is throwing plastic wrappers into a public drain. That is not where it should be, isn't it? So the young child was punished by a passerby for throwing plastic wrappers into a public drain. The third point for you to rethink and give your reasons is 2 teenagers were arrested by the police for trying to break into the house of an elderly lady around 11:30 a.m. yesterday. They will be produced before a judge tomorrow. Moving on to the fourth point, an employee of a bank has been suspended because he was seen harassing a female customer, threatening her with sexual assault if she does not comply with his demands in return for assisting her with her personal loan. Moving on to the fifth point. the teacher in charge of sports decided to name his nephew as the new game's captain because it will be easy to work with him. Run through all these points and see whether exactly do they fit into a crime definition which we are discussing today. Keep reading it and getting the idea so that it will be very clear for you to understand that does this point really fit into this criteria. The next point, the Minister of Health appointed his son and daughter as his new personal secretaries because they are both qualified mechanical engineers. The seventh point, as per your book, the policeman fined a motorist who ran the red light and then tried to bribe the policeman to avoid paying the fine. Eighth point, Nirmala's picture was used as a meme on Facebook by her friend without her knowledge or permission. Ninth point, the new students to the university are ragged by their seniors to welcome them and to teach them about the university subculture. Last 2 points, number 10, Ravi's personal information was used by an unknown person in Ukraine to hack into his bank account. The last point, Srimati felt very uncomfortable because the man seated next to her on the bus kept repeating obscene words at her. So these are some kinds of misbehavioral motions which we would be coming across. So give your reasons, put down your points, and then really see under what category does these crimes come into. Let me just run through to you the definitions which we told you before so that you have to work parallelly with that definition to put in your points and thoughts into these 11 bullet pointed detailed little notes so that you would know exactly what are they meaning and under what criminal offense does these point into. As I told you, an illegal act for which someone can be punished, a grave offense, especially against morality, a criminal activity or activities. The last one, something reprehensible, foolish, or disgraceful. And our next lesson would be about 6 news items. So before we get into that, we'll have a little tiny break with some fantastic music which has been lined up by Victor, who has a wonderful sense of picking the right music to keep you awake, to keep you tuned on to Radio Sri Lanka itself so that we can assist you with these teaching techniques. Over to you, Victor.
Well, that was really interesting, and we are getting little bit of responses as well. In fact, people are really giving their lead. In fact, they are commenting on the perfect, in a perfect way, just the praising the programs being conducted in audio waves of Radio Sri Lanka. And of course, we are there to bring in more and more important subject-based important facts during the third segment of the program that's being conducted by Sabrina. And it's 11 minutes to 5 o'clock. Let's take a listen to this particular song right now on Radio Sri Lanka.
The church door was open as I stepped inside. I went there hoping that she'd change her mind. There were beautiful roses in a bridal bouquet where she stood at the altar in a veil of white lace. A stranger in silence reached out for her hand and placed on her finger a gold wedding band. There was happiness written in a smile on his face, but I couldn't see her for the veil of white lace. I pitied the stranger for all he could see was their life together till eternity. My heart filled with anger as I pictured the face of a false-hearted quitter neath the veil of white lace. I reached in my pocket when the wedding was done. My hand touched a locket, then fell on the gun. It shattered the silence as it left its trace, stains of red crimson on a veil of white lace. I ran from the church house as I threw down the gun, but stopped at the doorstep, for they're crossing the lawn. My darling said she had decided to wait death to a stranger neath the veil of white lace. Death to a stranger neath the veil of white lace.
I believe what you say when you say you're going steady with nobody else but me. I believe what you say when you say you don't kiss nobody else but me. I believe, do believe, I believe, yeah, believe, pretty baby. Believe you're going steady with nobody else but me. Well, there's one thing, baby, that I want you to know. When you're rocking with me, you're gonna rock too slow. Move on and get toe to toe. We're gonna rock till we can't rock no more. I believe, do believe, I believe, yeah, believe, pretty baby. Believe you're going steady with nobody else but me. Well, let's dig it now. Well, I believe what you say when you say you don't miss nobody else but me. I believe what you say when you say you don't kiss nobody else but me. I believe, do believe, I believe, yeah, believe, pretty baby. Believe you're going steady with nobody else but me. Well, when you kiss me, baby, then you roll your eyes. I get a funny feeling that I'm hypnotized. Chills run all up and down my spine. Everybody that you're mine, all mine. I believe, do believe, yeah, believe, oh, believe, pretty baby. Believe you're going steady with nobody else but me. Oh, yeah, well, I believe, you believe, yeah, believe, well, believe, pretty baby. Believe you're going steady with nobody else but me.
Siddhalepa Asamodakam. No artificial colors, flavors, preservatives or alcohol.
From where can we buy?
From all outlets, pharmacies, boutiques and supermarkets. Siddhalepa Asamodakam.
A little thought for today from the city police.
You know what little girls and boys are like. cautious, Mr. Driver. Oh, please don't run the risk of making us the victims of a reckless motorist. So keep on driving, but bear in mind little footsteps down the street. Yes, keep on driving, don't stop driving. Watch out for little feet.
A minute to 5 o'clock, you're listening to Radio Sri Lanka. Over to Sabrina to conduct the third segment of the program based on the English language pertaining to the GC Advanced Level Students Curriculum. Over to you, Sabrina.
Thank you, Victor. And moving on with this notes which is been listed in the book is basically they want you to read through thoroughly. That is the very first task in this module. They want you to thoroughly read through these news pickings that they have got into this book, and they want you to understand thoroughly so that you should read through these news items and answer the questions related to same. So the very first news bulletin is the STF raids ganja plantation in Lunugam-Vihara. STF raids ganja plantation in Lunugam-Vihara. The STF carried out a massive raid covering 3 acres cultivated with nearly 9,000 ganja plants inside the Lunugam-Vihara Forest Reserve, police spokesperson said. The STF team was deployed from the Buttala STF camp. Let me read that again so that you will understand what exactly is this news bulletin is trying to convey. The STF carried out a massive raid covering 3 acres cultivated with nearly 9,000 ganja plants inside the Lunugam-Vihara Forest Reserve, police spokesman said. The STF team was deployed from the Buttala STF camp. As you can see in the book, they have highlighted this word massive. They're gradually trying to enlighten the student to keep referring the dictionary to get the meaning as to what this word massive means. As we know, it is a large and a heavy or something solid. We sometimes say a massive rampart of stone. And something exceptionally large, something even much more bigger, like a massive crowds are expected to attend. We could say it even over there, and then rephrasing it as a noun. A group of young people from a particular area with a common interest in dance music, for an example, the Bristol Massive. So you have to be very sure about the definition. So that is exactly what this unit is trying its best to convey to the student, that whatever the words which are being highlighted, please keep referring to the dictionary to get the meaning of the words. So that is a learning lesson out of this. The second news item, traffic offences on expressway. Traffic offences on expressway. Legal action had been taken against 155 drivers who violated traffic regulations on the Southern Expressway in the last 15 days. Police said drivers were charged for driving at excessive speed, causing accidents due to reckless driving and violating other traffic rules. A senior official said that drivers were yet to come to terms with traffic regulations for the expressway, which usually ended in a booking. So the word that you have to keep rechecking in that news item is the word booking. It's easier if we can simplify each news item which we are reading as to what is the offense, what is the criminal offense that's taking place. For an example, in the earlier one, who was raiding it? It was the STF. What were they raiding? The ganja plantation. Where at? Lunugam-Vihara. So if we can simplify what we are reading in that manner, it's easier for us to understand what exactly is being said in that news item. Moving on to the third news item. 3 nabbed for illicit transport of cattle. 3 nabbed for illicit transport of cattle. The Special Task Force arrested 3 men who were allegedly transporting a herd of cattle consisting of 11 cows in the area of Mahaoya. The suspects were transporting the cattle to an undisclosed site to be slaughtered. The STF team was on a routine patrol in the area at the time when they arrested the 3 men. The suspects and the cattle were handed over to the Mahaoya police for further investigations. Word which you should be paying attention to in that particular news bulletin is undisclosed site. What does it really mean? Fourth news item is thieves escape with computer accessories. Thieves escape with computer accessories. Thieves broke into the Samurdhi Bank in Pussellava and allegedly stole computer accessories worth around 85,000 rupees. The management lodged a complaint with the Badula police the next day after discovering the damage and the loss. Police said the thieves had attempted to break the safe lockers, but after they failed to accomplish the task, they had taken away the computer accessories. Pay attention on the highlighted words in that news item, that is, fail to accomplish the task. The fifth news item, suspect held for possessing heroin. Police arrested a suspect who allegedly possessed nearly 200 grams of heroin during a raid that was carried out in the Palyawatha area of Hendala. The raid was carried out after getting information from the residents about his activities and whereabouts. The word to keep a tab on is possessed. The last news item, that is absconding woman arrested. Absconding woman arrested. A woman who was hiding in the Waligam area without paying 950,000 rupees after obtaining it from 3 persons to start a business was arrested. She had taken the money promising that it will be returned within 6 months, the police said. She had started a salon by investing the money. Now, when we look at all these news items, we have to read through it maybe once or even twice. It doesn't matter, as long as we take in the real idea, the real meaning of these paragraphs, so that we can wisely answer the questions which are followed. So I strongly recommend our dear students to keep reading it once or twice, and that is exactly why they have even highlighted certain words in each news item, so that you would go back, refer the dictionary and get the reference as to what exactly does that word mean, so that you're very sure of what you have read. That gives you the confidence to answer the questions which are followed by, isn't it? The very first question pertaining to this lesson would be, which 2 reports are about crimes involving transport? There you go. So if you read through it once or twice, so that you're very confident to answer the questions, it says which 2 reports are about crimes involving transport. That's a pretty easy question to handle. Then the second, which reports are about drug-related crimes? The answer is even much more getting easier if you read through and if you could understand exactly what does that news item really mean. So they have already given you even some supporting words like which news item says about drug-related crime, which one is talking about transport. So they've simplified it. They've already given you some certain hints so that it's easier for you to pick and choose which news item they're talking about for you to further explain. Third question, was any person arrested in report number 1?